Okay, I came to the junction of Flagline Access, or Flagline Tie, I think is what it's called. Left turn off of Ridge Loop, and I'm headed up towards Vista Butte at this point. I just saw a couple cyclists go by me, so this is starting to get use. Snow is pretty much melted. I've seen like one, maybe two patches, really small. But I know that the trail is problematic in this area, so I wanted to shoot some video and take a look at that and just document what's going on. Again, it has a very different feel to it, more of a backcountry feel. I haven't crossed a road since I've been out at all, so definitely in a roadless area, which is nice. We don't have enough of that sort of backcountry roadless feel to our mountain bike trails. We've got sort of more front country, very definitively roaded areas. It's great to have, fills close to town, but it's also nice to have this as an alternative. And this definitely, again, it's a class 3 trail, but it's got a very different feel, more of a, kind of, I don't know, rugged sort of feel to it, if you will. But definitely wanted to take a look at what's going on. We've got a number of routes exposed for sure. And the thing with that is that because this is an uphill route as well as a downhill route, our traffic patterns will be different. So I just saw two cyclists come by, and not surprisingly, they're over here. They're on this outside edge, and it has to do with what's called the trail tread rugosity. This was a mandatory obstacle, meaning that it ran the full width of the trail, but now the trail has widened out and people are scooting around that. And we can see definitely water-based erosion right there. So we'll continue on up. I think we're going to come up to a section that's pretty badly eroded. Seeing a lot more roots. Again, trail has more of a raw feeling to it, which is good, but at the same time, we need to make sure that we can maintain this and that it doesn't drastically change. And I would argue that this has changed in the past 10 years that I've been riding it. Here we see a log across that probably was installed as a check right here, and not surprised at all that we're seeing a big sand puddle right here. And we can see the sand puddle is pretty wide. As soil deposits here and riders come through, particularly in the downhill, they're going to kind of displace that sand to that outside edge. And here we're definitely looking at some pretty significant water-based erosion. I believe that this probably was the old trail, and that this has developed since, again, because the trail tread rugosity has exceeded what the average user wants to see here. And as we continue on up, we're probably going to see more of the same. The trail is the lowest point in this watershed here. There's not a lot of vegetation, and so there is the possibility that we're getting some snow melt that's coming from this landscape down into trail tread. And then, of course, the trail tread itself is part of the trail tread watershed. So one solution here is to creatively stay within the corridor, but do slight minor alignment changes. So one recommendation would be to put the trail up here and then bring it back down. If we come up like that and then come across and then right back down to where I'm standing, we will have a permanent grade reversal, not a rolling grade dip. That's part of the landscape, taking advantage of the landscape. And then what we would do is we would drain into the old trail. So what you'd want to do is to scarify and loosen the soil of the old trail tread, and then just move the trail just a little bit, not a lot. We're staying within the corridor, but if we move the trail up to my left just a bit, then we're going to be able to drain this a lot better. And we could do that same treatment working all the way up this. So I'm going to take a look around, turn around here and see how if we were up in here, the landscape goes up. So if the landscape goes up, then the trail is going to go up, and that's a permanent up as opposed to building a rolling dip with a lead off. So definitely some opportunity for some creative work in here, and it definitely will take creative work. But I would rather do that than pull a machine into this location because I don't really want to change this trail character. Now, that's not to say that the Forest Service doesn't do a timber project, thinning project here in the future that will definitely change this landscape. It'll change the trail feel. I don't know. But I certainly don't want to be the one that writes a prescription that changes, the feel of this current trail. So we definitely could do some jigs and some jags. Again, same opportunity here. Instead of the trail being in this lowest point and below grade, if we just move the trail up here a little bit, then we're going to better effectively manage water. And after you have scarified the soil that's in the old trail tread, throw in some check dams and then fill it with forest duff and downfall that you see. It's readily available for sure. And that will curb future erosion events within the trail tread itself. So lots of opportunity for some creative, minor realignment in here. I'm going to turn back and showcase another one that I just walked past. And now we're coming up to the junction of, I think that's going to be Vista Trail, we'll see. But here, you can see that the current trail is down here. If we just went to the right of that tree and then back in, we're going to be better off in terms of draining down into this, but draining into something that's not the trail tread itself. So some interesting opportunity for just minor realignments in here, and give it sort of more of a weave, give it more of a left and a right, give it some more meander within the landscape. That's what we call sinuosity. And that would provide for a more interesting trail experience for the most part. So here we see a junction, and we see someone has dug a pretty good size drainage feature right here with a settling basin right here. That definitely was needed for sure. So this is called Swampy Dutchman, straight ahead in Vista Butte. But I think that the trail that I was on is called Vista Tie, maybe. I'm not sure. So, oh no, I know where I am. Yes, straight ahead would be going directly to Vista Butte. Yeah. Alrighty then.